What's up, guys? We're back. Another quick video, hopefully, where I can actually talk you through some of the things I'm doing with my avocados right now. Today is October 2nd, 2024, and it was a hot one. Okay, so not sure if you can see this, but this is my bacon. This is my SC Gold. SC Gold is just reaching up. It's growing really nicely from a graft from 2022, and in just 2 years essentially we got amazing growth plus fruit already. So one of the things I'm doing right now, and I want you guys to be aware of, is if you can see, I already propped this tree up, and I'll show you what that looks like right now. But this was actually leaning over quite a bit. My bacon is so heavy with fruit right now. It's leaning over to the point where it almost looked like it was gonna snap. So here's the trunk. You can see it's leaning. And here's a SC, and it was leaning also, but it was worse than that. I should have recorded it before I did this whole thing. So let me show you what I did. All right, so I'm on the other side of my bacon, and this bacon is totally loaded with fruit. I mean, it's got so much fruit that this thing is so heavy on this side. So what I did was I put a stake. It's not pounded into the ground. I did a constrictor's knot right there. Sorry for, hopefully it's not blurry. So the constrictor's knot is great. Because it can actually wrap around something that's round like this, which is something that if this was metal, it might slide down, but if you do a constrictor's knot, it can actually hold and stay there. With this, you see it's holding and it's actually staying up there. So this is just nylon webbing that I got from like the Home Depot, and this thing is actually pretty strong. So I was able to kind of lift this and support this. And the plan and the hope is that this tree, which has a ton of fruit, is gonna kind of hold and not break. So hopefully that's what's gonna happen. So I mean, I probably should thin out a couple, and I'll probably do that tomorrow. I got some stuff I got to do today, but tomorrow I'll come in here, and any of the small fruit that looks like they're not going to do well, like for example that, little small compared to some of the other ones, those are going to get, I got to thin it out a little bit because it's just too heavy. And what could happen is you could have this whole branch break, and then you could lose a big portion of your crop, right? So you're better off just thinning out some, protecting the tree. Other people do it also. And when you do that, it makes the limb, of course, lighter, and you'll still have plenty of fruit because there's still plenty of fruit on there. But the idea is just to make it a little lighter so this branch doesn't break, right? So you can see the branch is there, but there's fruit all the way up there too. See if I can zoom in there. It's kind of dark, hard to tell. Sorry about that. But here we go. So of course you guys know that I have my bacon right here, and I actually have an SC Gold right here. So the SC was leaning over quite a bit also, and so what I did was I put the stake right there. You can see the stake, and I did another constrictor's knot and pulled it up, kind of leaning it back. I was actually considering tying the big branch of the SC to the bacon, so that way they kind of hold each other together. But this SC is loaded also. Let me show you that. I mean, this is why it was leaning over, because it's so heavy with fruit. And again, this is only 2 years of it being grafted. So I grafted this in May of 2022, right there, and you can see it's healed up nicely. You can see it's healed up very nicely. This was the rootstock, this was the SC, and then anything beyond this is SC. And look how big it is now. And another reason why it's so big is because this rootstock is super strong, right? So when you have something like that, and I knew that this was a strong rootstock, so that's why I actually planted or grafted this SC on there, knowing that it's really going to push energy into that and give us potentially fruit in the future. I didn't think I was going to get this much fruit this fast. So get a strong rootstock if you have it, if you can find it. If you got a strong rootstock, graft onto it, you'll have success. If you're at the store, at the Home Depot, always look for the biggest and the strongest root that you can find, root system that you could find. Up top might be weak, it's okay. As long as the root system's strong, the whole tree is going to do well long term. All right. Okay, it's Wednesday, October 2nd. We hit 100 degrees today, and I just wanted to show you guys my amazing setup here. So I had a couple eucalyptus trees, which I tied a corner of my shade cloth onto, and then I use a little stake with the anchor point over there, and then I used another piece of wood with I used a pot, which actually let me show you. So there's like a little pot which prevented the wood from poking a hole through my little shade cloth, and it was a way to kind of shade this guy, even though, you know, I thought that we were done with the heat and we got 100 degrees, 102 degrees today, and probably 103 degrees tomorrow. And then the rest of the week up in the high 90s, cracking the 100, 101. And you know what? I thought we were done, so that's why I pulled out my nabal, which was right here, and then planted these 2 avocados. So on the left is the malama, on the right is the koala. And I only put this shade cloth up this morning. I should have done it yesterday or the day before, knowing that the heat was going to come in. And let me show you what it looked like yesterday afternoon. So when this happens, you're done. Essentially, you're like, oh, there's no way this thing's going to come back. So that's why this morning I added this shade cloth. I was hoping that since this guy was pretty healthy, that it was going to be okay. But, you know, these temperatures and the spiking of the temperatures was just not expected. So just a reminder, I mean, I got a ton of mulch here. I've been watering it, but even though you water it, you got mulch, a young avocado that you just planted, it's important to do at least shade cloth for at least a month or so. Just a reminder for myself and for you guys that are doing this also. This is still okay. It's still pretty healthy for the most part. You can feel the difference. Once you get underneath here, it actually cools down quite a bit. So, you know, things like that will happen, and it's okay. This thing is still doing good for the most part. But, you know, of course we don't like seeing stuff like that, especially if we can prevent it from happening. Also on this side, this branch was kind of just falling over and touching the ground. So what I did was I just propped it up, tied it up here so it didn't touch the ground. I did spray it down yesterday, but today didn't do any spraying, and I did the shade cloth, so this was actually good enough. So we'll see how it goes. So more progress to be had. Let me show you some other stuff real quick. Okay, so here's that nabal that I pulled out, and as you can see, I mean, I have it in a pot. I've been watering it, but it is just, I would say, probably done for at this point. The leaves are all crispy, and you know what? It probably would have been okay if it wasn't so hot like the last couple days. I'll just leave it in the pot. Who knows? It might actually make a new growth. I've seen that happen. Doesn't hurt to hold on to it, but do not invest any more time into this, like babying it. If whatever happens, happens. That's kind of the philosophy now, especially if you're dealing with a bunch of avocados. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. This really was just a weak seedling, so this was not a clonal, you know, from brokaw. This is just a really weak seedling, and sometimes when you get a weak seedling, that's kind of what happens, right? You just, you know, it's like a gamble, luck of the draw. I mean, same thing with this gem. This gem right here, this gem, I probably got it in 2021. And you know, back then it was actually very difficult to find gems in a 5-gallon like this. So when I found it, I didn't just buy one, I bought like 5. Being a little greedy, of course. But so I mean, this is like a couple years old, and look at how it's growing. It's just not doing anything. So really, you know, the rootstock has something to do with how the plant is developing also. So in addition to this variety being a slow grower, because it fruits so much, but this guy has not fruited at all and just has not taken off. So when you have weak rootstock, it really, you know, for some of you guys, if this is your first time growing avocados and you got the short end of the straw and got a really weak rootstock, it's not your fault. I guess that's what I'm trying to say, because you can have a very vigorous tree but a weak rootstock, and you will probably be struggling. You might be doing everything right, mulch, shade cloth, all of that, and it still might not be able to do well. So in cases like that, just pull it out, start over, and get something new. So we're in October, and I believe Mexicola Grandes are getting ready to be harvested. So that's kind of where we're at right now. It's exciting because, you know, I haven't had my own avocados. I've been buying avocados lately just because we were out. So we're finally getting back into having our own avocados again. So I'm optimistic for this coming year. I hope to have avocados throughout most of the year next year. I think it should last longer than this last year. But we did have a lot of fruit drop, which was very unusual, but it was something that a lot of people have noticed also, and for a lot of folks it was worse than others, you know. So I'm just thankful that I do still have a lot of fruit on a lot of my trees. So we'll be enjoying avocados throughout from now going into next year, and then probably June, July, hopefully, of next year we'll still have avocados on all of our trees. So that's the plan. And of course we're just messing around, grafting more trees and And I still got more avocados that need to be planted in the ground, so we'll be on it probably middle to late this month. That way it starts to cool down even more. I thought it was cool enough to start planting trees, but I guess I can wait just a couple more weeks and hopefully it starts to cool down even more. So we'll see how it goes. Thanks for watching, and if you guys haven't subscribed and you want to see progress on some of these varieties that we got, if you want to see us taste some of these special varieties that I really haven't seen anybody do a taste test on, it'd be fun to kind of, you know, show some of these things, and then hopefully if it's good, give you guys a chance to maybe get one yourself or go look for one yourself also. Anyways, talk to you guys later. See ya.